I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
Court records show Tyler and Jacob Huffhimes traveled to California to buy $300,000 worth of marijuana oil just days before their condo was raided.
It all started with a 20-year-old looking to cash in on the vape craze.
Tonight, it's our first look inside an elaborate black market scheme to sell weed vape cartridges. The Kenosha County Sheriff says deputies arrested 20-year-old Tyler Huffhimes from Paddock Lake as the ringleader.
Yeah, what a young businessman, what a 20-year-old businessman that lives in Kenosha County, that he's willing to put other people's lives at risk, including children, for his own benefit.
Sheriff Beth says for more than a year, Huffhimes allegedly used this Bristol condo to inject vape cartridges with THC oil. Then his crew of 10 employees, who even had time cards, would package and sell the cartridges for roughly $22 each.
It's highly potent drugs.
During a raid at the upscale condo in Bristol Bay last week, police found more than 30,000 THC-filled cartridges, 18 pounds of weed, and money-counting machines. The big question is whether the operation is linked to any of the hundreds of recent illnesses or deaths.
We're willing to work with any agency in this country that has lost or seriously hurt somebody to see if our people here in Kenosha County have any responsibility in hurting the hundreds of people throughout the United States, especially in Wisconsin, in southeast Wisconsin.
The Kenosha County bust is all thanks to a mom and dad in Waukesha who turned in their son they found with the THC vapes, and it ultimately led police to Huffhimes.
If it wasn't for these parents coming through and holding their son accountable, I don't think we'd be here today giving you the information and the gravity of this vaping epidemic that's going on in the nation right now.
So right now, Huffhimes and his older brother remain in jail. They have not been charged yet. They're expected to, though, soon. And the sheriff is still looking for any others who may have been involved in their operation.
And so, Hillary, when will we know if the THC oil found in this raid is linked to the lung injuries?
So what we know right now is that their product was sent to the state crime lab. They're looking that over and analyzing it, but the sheriff said there's really no timeline yet as to when we will find out if there's a
23-year-old brother Jacob had a history of drug charges and now faces more, but it is his little brother Tyler who comes off in the complaint as an entrepreneur, more interested in making money than using drugs. A somber Tyler Huffhimes walks into a Kenosha County courtroom facing felony charges for parlaying an interest in making a little cash into what may have been a multi-million-dollar illegal business, making and selling thousands of illegal homemade marijuana vape cartridges.
He took to California $300,000 in cash in a carry-on suitcase in order to buy the distillate.
A special prosecutor says Tyler and his 23-year-old brother Jacob got their latest supply of refined liquid THC, nearly 13 gallons worth, in late August.
This is a very large criminal enterprise that this defendant began. Basically, he began it with 100 cartridges that he began to sell, and it's now grown to a point where, by my calculation, from the product that was removed from the residence would have an approximate street value of $2.2 to $2.5 million.
According to the complaint, inside a condo Tyler rented solely for the operation, investigators found 31,000 vape cartridges filled with the THC vape oil, and nearly 100,000 more waiting to be filled by Tyler's employees. He's quoted as saying he never used drugs and got into the business to make money. Quote, "You invest more, you make more. No risk, no reward."
There'll be more arrests. I'm just going to stick to that right now. But there'll be more people taken into custody. And I don't have a timeline for that. There are different people that we've interviewed, we're going to interview, and I'm sure that we'll get more leads on.
Nick Moore joining us live once again. And Nick, this comes as more than 400 people nationwide have been sickened by probable vape use, as well as 6 deaths. Now, is there any way to link those numbers that we just spoke of to this operation?
Well, in court today, prosecutors said they are trying to do just that, saying that, quote, government agencies are testing the product to see if there is
ties to an illegal THC vape cartridge operation in southeast Wisconsin is now arrested.
Now behind bars, the mother of the masterminds behind it all, Courtney Huffhimes, is behind bars. Casey Cronus joining us live in Kenosha County, where authorities say there is still a lot more to uncover in this case. Casey?
Ben and Mary, after arresting the Huffhimes brothers in early September, authorities connected the dots to their mother. Still, they say this is just the tip of the iceberg, and other arrests will be coming soon. Ushered into a courtroom Tuesday is the matriarch of an illegal THC vape cartridge operation.
I will call State of Wisconsin versus Courtney D. Huffhimes.
43-year-old Courtney Huffhimes faces 6 charges for her role in a business authorities say was started by her sons, 23-year-old Jacob Huffhimes and 20-year-old Tyler Huffhimes.
We believe she's right in the mix of this entire operation.
At a Bristol condo managed by Courtney Huffhimes, authorities seized more than 30,000 vape cartridges filled with THC, almost 100,000 unfilled cartridges, and dozens of mason jars filled with THC oil. Prosecutors say Courtney Huffhimes stole the identity of a man living in Las Vegas, Nevada, using his name on the lease.
She had rented it ultimately to her own 2 boys under a fake name.
Then investigators found even more evidence in a locked room in the back of Courtney Huffhimes' Union Grove Realty office.
When they did the search warrant, I know investigators called me and said, we hit the mother lode here. And they said, this is one of the labs.
It appears here that this was a sophisticated manufacturing operation.
Documents also reveal text messages shared between Huffhimes and her sons in the days prior to their arrests, sharing articles that warn about THC vape cartridges and saying might need to look into another business.
Court is going to set bond in the amount of $100,000.
We're also told the Food and Drug Administration will be taking some of the cartridges to their lab for testing. They'll be looking for any links between the cartridges manufactured by the Huffhimes and illnesses and deaths caused by vape cartridges in recent months. Reporting live in Kenosha County, Casey Cronus, Fox 6 News.
Casey, thank you.
Yeah, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. We on our way to Wisconsin with it. Paddock Lake to be exact. Shit sound nice. We ain't never been around this bitch before. Now today, we are going to be covering a guy by the name of Tyler Huffhimes. But we can't tell the story of Tyler without mentioning his bro Jacob. And according to the authorities, we're going to have to mention his mom, which would be the matriarch of the whole clan, Courtney Huffhimes. Now, according to the authorities, Tyler Huffhimes will go on to be the head of one of the largest THC oil or liquid THC distributing operations in the entire United States. He's going to be 20 years old. His brother Jacob's going to be 23 years old. And his mother's going to be right around 43 years old. Now, according to police, they're going to say that he ran an assembly line-like operation with people working, filling up the illicit vape cartridges in a rented condo that was rented under a false name that was provided to him by his mother, who was a real estate agent of 8 years. It's just so deep. they would say that he would pay a team that he would refer to as juicers $20 an hour to go on and fill the cartridges up. He was busted with 1,616 ounces of the potent THC oil, as the police would go on to mention, or 58 jars. Now, during the raids, police would go on to find 120,000 vape cartridges already filled, 8 guns, 57 mason jars filled with liquid THC, and $59,000 in cash. Now, in the initial press conference, I seen that the head officer in charge was doing everything in his power to see if he was able to charge Tyler Huffhimes and his family with any of the overdoses or the deaths that occurred with using these THC vape cartridges. Now, I want to say at the time of release, it was going to be 6. Now, this case happened back in 2019, and it got real interesting because Tyler's mother was released on a $100,000 bond the same day that she was arraigned and arrested. Now, Tyler would go on to sit in jail up until 2021 to await his trial that would be in January of 2022. And the reason that he awaited in jail those 2 years was the judge that was on his case had him set at a $500,000 bail because they deemed that they had sufficient evidence to prove that he had stashed sufficient amounts of money away, and that would deem him being a flight risk. But the judge handling the case would go on to retire, and a new judge would be handed the case, and that new judge would go on to lower his bail from $500,000 to $100,000, allowing him to post the bail as soon as it was lowered. And now he is home awaiting his trial date along with his brother and his mother. Now, upon doing research on this case, one thing I learned about Tyler is, well, actually, it's almost like I know him. You know, a Mobb ties, I'm going to dig. Well, I see he was a high school football player. He played running back as well as position in the secondary. So I'm not sure if it was cornerback, if it was safety, or if it, either one of those. But I did see at his last homecoming game, he did go on to have 2 interceptions. Shout out to you, Tyler. And I also seen that he had entrepreneurial dreams, pretty much, I almost have to say, from since he was born, because when he was 18 years old back in 2018, the year before this took off, he was actually featured on Kenosha's News with in an article titled "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?" Busy with kosher student already on his way. Now, in that article, they would talk about how he went on to sell Yeezys, Gucci sneakers, Air Jordans at an uptick, and he would make his money. So it's just like the news clips. He had his eye on the dollar from an early day, and he was not gonna be let down. Now, with the evidence it seems like they have lined up against him, it's definitely going to be a tough fight. But what we're going to do is we definitely going to keep an eye on this case, because anytime I'm covering a case like this, the first thing I think of is, if he was black, or if they was black, how much time would they be getting? So what do you think? I'm not even sure what he's facing in a case this big, when it's something where you have the biggest operation in the United States. But I'm sure they're going to take leniency on him, because at the time he was only 20 years old. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye out to see how much leniency is going to be taken. Y'all let me know if it would be any difference if he was black. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all make sure y'all hit the bell right under this video to subscribe so y'all know when this shit gonna drop. Y'all get in the comment box below. Y'all comment under the pictures on IG. Y'all tweet at me. Y'all direct message me. However y'all want to handle it. Let me know who we need to cover, where we need to go. With Scotia, it's been nice. We probably be back. You already know what it is. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. Mobb ties.